Hello and welcome to Cloud Security Monitoring and Evasion Techniques. A short disclaimer slide before we start. This presentation contains my opinions and not the views of my employer or any cloud provider. So, who am I? My name is Gabriel Wierzbieniec and I'm log management engineer and Splunk architect. I'm currently living in Zurich, Switzerland, but originally I came from Poland. So don't ask me about any kind of fondue recipes or Swiss things. I'm long-time member of ISC Square and ISACA, so I hold multiple industry credentials like CISSP, CCSP, and so on. And of course, I'm cloud security enthusiast. That's why I'm giving you this talk. So first of all, why this talk? Perhaps all of you have observed the tremendous growth of the cloud recently, and even more the number of cloud breaches. So definitely, the public cloud is and its secure adoption is quite challenging. Also from log management perspective. We have some cloud native security monitoring tools. These are the answer from cloud providers to log management in the cloud problem. But still, somehow we can become invisible in the cloud environment. So by evasion technique, I mean attacks against logging infrastructure. And so the tips for defenders I have are mostly about securing logging infra. So what is the cloud? The most common cloud meme says that there's no cloud, it's just someone else's computer. But honestly, in fact, there's the cloud is something more than renting a computer. We're going to see that just a few slides from now. But how can we tell if the cloud is secure? Or actually, I should say a bit more specific. How can we tell that? How can we tell if someone unauthorized is not accessing our data? And the answer is cloud security monitoring. In this model, presently we have two pieces. First puzzle is cloud logs. These are provided by the cloud provider to us. And second puzzle is cloud analytics engine, so things like dashboards and alerting. This part of course can be also provided by our cloud providers, so AWS, Azure, GCP, or whatever else you have. This model is a bit simplified, but it covers the basics. So how it works. So for now, let's focus on logging and how cloud logging is different. So in the cloud, Log collection is a little bit different from configuring that syslog service or installing some kind of an agent. You still can do it if you're using infrastructure as a service, so like EC2 instances. But what about platform as a service, or software as a service, or containers as a service, or even function as a service? How do you get logs from this? So, well, there's quite a lot of this services, and there are even more challenges. Let's see on the next slide. Well, dynamic nature of the cloud is really making the things a little bit harder for most of us. Because for instance, behind one IP we can have a full fleet of containers scaling up and downsizing depending on the load. So information about the IP address alone is not very useful. And this is related to point one, short lifespan of cloud workloads. Considering things like EC2 spot instance that's living really short. Logs that are not collected are lost. So we have to be very careful there and well, basically consider all these things. And finally, cloud logging. We have two types of cloud logs in general. We have cloud audit trail. So by audit trail, we mean things like utilizing cloud management APIs, things like spinning up new instances, creating new storage buckets, and so on. And we have cloud usage logs. By usage, I mean logging to a system, accessing database table. So we have these two types of cloud logs. So now when we have covered the general concepts, let's be a bit more specific and let's see how it looks in AWS. So for log collection in AWS, first of all, we have CloudTrail, which is, as the name suggests, provides audit trail for AWS Cloud. And we have CloudWatch, which is kind of a log aggregator that consumes logs from all over the places from the cloud. So you can get your audit logs, your system logs, application logs, whatever you want. We can also use Elasticsearch, I mean OpenSearch service. It used to be Elasticsearch, but now Amazon is maintaining their own fork of Elasticsearch. So AWS OpenSearch service. This service is going to be useful for sure for people who are familiar with Elk Stack, so Elasticsearch, Kibana Logstash. And Well, possibly any other service that can meet your requirements depending on your scale, on the features you need. There are many services that can be useful for logging. Not only Kinesis mentioned on the slide, but well, AWS Lambda would be very useful to things like log transformations and other stuff. So let's briefly check the features of AWS CloudTrail. The main feature still will be logging API calls for supported services. Keywords supported. Most of AWS services are supported by CloudTrail, but not all. So before using service, just check the logs if they are sent to CloudTrail. It's not only for management logs, but also can collect data events. Things like object level API S3, so accessing a file from S3 bucket. Things like accessing a table from DynamoDB, that kind of granularity. It's enabled by default and contains 90 days of event history. But you can send logs to an S3 bucket, and while there you can set your own retention policies. Log data is pushed every 5 minutes with possible delays. So keep that in mind. And of course, it supports cross-region and cross-account log collection. So that would be especially useful for enterprise deployments. And now AWS CloudWatch. Yeah, it collects not only logs, but also can collect metrics, monitor log files, and set alarms. So one especially useful use case is to set a billing alarm. So you know when your AWS bill is going higher than usual. It ingests data from cloud services, operation system logs, your own apps. Just you need to ship your logs to CloudWatch, and they are there. It provides log search and visualizations. So you can go to console, put some phrase and search for it. You can create dashboards. And what's interesting, by default, logs are stored inside the service. So there is no S3 bucket exposed, and they're stored indefinitely. So unless you specify retention policy, you're going to have your logs forever, which is kind of cool, but not good for your wallet. And of course, cross-region and cross-account is supported. And the most recent feature of CloudWatch is Logs Insights. can be used for analytics. It's basically like a search engine for your logs, and provides more robust searching and visualization capabilities. Now, when we know something about AWS, let's check out Azure, the second big player on the market. Azure has concept of activity logs, so the audit trail, and activity logs are system generated and cannot be changed or deleted, so that's good. And by default, this log is retained for 90 days. And we have also resource logs, which are not enabled by default, so they have to be turned on manually. An equivalent of CloudWatch in Azure would be probably log analytics, which is built around the concept of workspaces, kind of containers for different log types, that also store logs and metrics, so kind of similar like CloudWatch. But here, retention time can be from 30 to 30 days. For individual log types, you can set it actually as low as 4 days, up to 2 years maximum. And cross-subscription monitoring is supported, so you can have a dedicated subscription just for your logs and analytics. And of course, it comes with an SQL-like syntax for searching, and you also can have some basic visualizations. What's really cool that Microsoft provides a demo of this service. So if you have an account, you can go to this link, and you have Azure log analytics with some demo data that you can search just to get basic understanding of this service. So I encourage everyone to check it out. And the third big cloud provider we're going to review today, of course, GCP from Google. In GCP, we have 4 types of audit logs: admin activity, data access, system event, and policy denied logs. By default, retained for 30 days. It can be up to 10 years. However, admin activity, system activity, and access transparency logs, so things like Google employee accessing your resources for some reason, are stored for 400 days. It's inside a special underscore required buckets that cannot be changed or deleted. And Google's cloud logging service is called Cloud Logging. And it provides pretty standard set of features like querying, visualizations, metrics, alerting, all the stuff we've already seen with the two other cloud providers. One interesting feature is error reporting. That's a feature especially focused on error aggregations. Well, for sure, very useful for developers or DevOps teams trying to figure out what's going wrong. And well, it's integrating with BigQuery, so that's also cool. And now I'd like to discuss evasion techniques, specifically how we can disrupt cloud logging. By disrupting, I mean actually attacking logging infrastructure. In our scenario, adversary is going to leverage leaked or maybe stolen API keys. A side note here, unauthenticated attacks are of course possible, but they are pretty rare. So that's why I'd like to focus on a scenario when attacker is actually using some kind of credentials to interact with cloud APIs. And our adversary is trying to stay silent. So it's not going to, for example, spin up a lot of big EC2 instances for crypto mining, but rather trying to disrupt logging first and then try to do any follow-up actions. Here on this diagram we have legacy architecture for logging, totally not cloudy. So you may be wondering why I'm showing this to you. So what's on the diagram? It's maybe a Unix app writing to a socket and a syslog server writing the logs to a file, or maybe sending to remote server. Yeah, and I just want to show you how it can look in the cloud, and well, I can see it's pretty much similar. We have a service. We have auditing service like CloudTrail, storing data to bucket, so like a file, and sending data to another service like CloudWatch. So yeah, in my opinion, it's not that different. And how we can disrupt logging? We can attack the green box, so the service itself, changing the logging levels. We can tamper logging settings on the auditing application or service like CloudTrail, or we can just delete the log files, like deleting S3 bucket. And here on this demonstration, I'm going to get bucket logging policy. And bucket logging policy says that this bucket is logging server logs to another bucket. So what we can do about it? We can just remove the buckets that contains logs. S3 RB and name of the bucket with logs, dash force, and bucket is deleted with all the contents, just like this. As I said, we can also disrupt CloudTrail. Of course, we can delete a trail or disable a trail. That's possible. For example, from CLI, it's just issue comment delete trail or stop logging, and it's done. But it's also likely to be noticed because, well, companies are monitoring for these events. So there's another route. We can manipulate logging settings of CloudTrail. In this case, we're going to disable multi-region and global event service settings to limit visibility. So we have a trail. You just issue a single comment, update trail, with comments. And no multi-region and no global event service. AWS CloudTrail update trail, dash name of the trail, dash no multi-region trail, dash no include global service events. And that's it. After this manipulation, attacker actions are not logged outside of the trail region, and excluding global services means that, for instance, IAM logs are not sent to the trail. So we can, for instance, create some accounts, and this event is not going to be logged. Oh, backdooring possible. And there's yet another possibility. We can tamper policy that allows CloudTrail to write logs. Because CloudTrail needs to have a policy that allows writing logs. On this demo, I'm saving policy to a JSON file, editing it a little bit so it's human readable. I'm going to transform it with sed and with underscore tool. And after transformation, our policy looks like this. So now we're going to edit it. Yeah, and just simply remove the policy that allow CloudTrail to write logs to S3. Save the policy file. Yeah, and after issuing a put bucket policy comment, the policy is applied. And now we can see that the new active policy is, well, a bit shorter. And if you look closer, it's not containing the right permissions. And the final result looks like this. So from the AWS Web Console, we can see that packet access is denied for a CloudTrail service. Of course, it's easy to fix, but well, you need to go to this dashboard and check. And well, of course, S3 bucket can be attacked in different ways. So we can just leverage the fact that the logs are stored inside buckets. Buckets can be deleted. We can change retention policy on buckets. Well, that's fun, redirecting logs to your S3 bucket, like stealing the logs, or well, even encrypting the logs and throwing the key away. And that can be also successful, but it's even possible to create a Lambda function to delete or maybe to tamper the logs. Just imagine a Lambda function that it's basically looking for specific events and filtering them out, like your custom filter, to stay under the radar. So how we can defend against this? We need to build tamper-proof logging. First of all, good architecture is the key to prevent these attacks, like creating a logging account where you store all the logs from all your AWS accounts. Remember to secure your buckets. There is a very recent guide released like this month or maybe a month ago. So it's really up to date. Second link. And well, monitoring changes with AWS config can be also really useful to prevent any malicious changes to cloud infra. And there's one specific option that I'd like to present about S3 buckets. It is possible to create like read-only bucket, or actually it's write once, read many bucket. So it's perfect for logging. It's like CDR or DVD-R drive that you can it's append only, so you can write data to it, but nothing can be really changed. So this feature is called object locked, and it has to be enabled during bucket creation. You can see also this big red warning, and it's because it after you enable the lock, it would be really difficult for you to change the settings. In the most strict mode of object locked, it's called compliance mode. Even the root account is not able to change the settings or delete. So it's very useful feature, but it has to be used with care. Some final thoughts. The cloud can be very secure or very insecure depending on your setup. So it's not exactly the fault of cloud providers that you leave this bucket open to the world and so on. And cloud providers have done really a lot comparing to early cloud days. But the thing is that the rapid development of cloud services makes things harder for everyone to just catch up with the changes. So this can be source of new misconfigurations in the cloud, and this is very dangerous. So for now, as you've seen, it is possible to conduct really devastating attacks against log infrastructure, basically stopping logging or deleting all the logs. But as long as you follow official guidelines from cloud providers, it is possible to be totally safe. And that's it for today. Thank you very much, and I hope you liked it.
Thank you very much for that. I'm just going to ask now if there are any questions for you from the audience. Yep, let's see one immediately.
Thank you. Just one that you talked about how to prevent problems with AWS, but is there anything specific about GCP? Because I'm working with GCP, and would there be anything specific that could be done to secure the logs?
Okay, thanks for that question. On this presentation, I've presented attacks specific to AWS because this is the part I was doing my research. But for sure, you can find some analogy based on the approach itself, and you can try to think about attacks on GCP. For now, I haven't tried anything because I'm not working with GCP currently, but for sure I'm going to consider this for future research.
Okay, thank you.
Are there? Oh, we have another one. Gabriel, just one moment, thanks.
Gabriel, hello. Ian, if we are talking about the AWS, what other possible vulnerabilities are there or attack scenarios, especially if we are talking about the Lambda functions?
Speaking about Lambda functions, well, the one that is related to attacks on logging, and I've mentioned was the Lambda function that can tamper logs written to S3, and in terms of logging, that would be something similar. However, if you ask in general attacks related to Lambda function itself, yeah, that was out of scope of my research, so I don't have anything for you.
Thank you, Gabriel. We have one more.
Yes, so about tempering the logs, what does it mean to temper? Does it mean to override? So for example, if I access it somehow and I can rewrite the IP address or something like that?
Tampering, I mean compromising integrity of the logs. So that may mean deleting the logs. But as we discussed just in question before, with example with Lambda function, that is, Lambda function can change the contents of logs that are being written. So yes, you can, for example, change an IP address. You can falsify the logs.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does anybody else have a question? That would appear to be it for questions, Gabriel. Again, thank you very much for the presentation and for answering the questions.
Thank you, Joe. I'm very glad that you're not sleeping yet.
No, not just yet. Okay, again, thank you. You were our final speaker. Thank you for that. I know it's a little late, but thank you. And I wish you a very good evening.
Thank you. Same to you.